Welcome guys to another Roundtable Discussions. As you know, I'm Adam, your channel host, and today I got Don with me.
Hey guys.
And so Don and I are actually planning on doing a monthly sit and talk video.
Yeah.
So what I'm sort of thinking is we'll release it the first month of every the first month of every year. The first Thursday of every month. And we're probably just going to discuss for right now our hobbies that we have an interest, which is the Hobbit SBG, and then anything else that has happened in our hobby community, not Hobbit community, but hobby community.
Hobbit SBG is like really the biggest
thing
we have in common.
That's right.
Like we both do a lot of other stuff. Like you do tons of other stuff on your channel.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of other stuff.
Community-based stuff.
Yeah.
So Don, we've known each other for a few years now, so it would probably be about
2010 maybe
I think, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And we Don and I met because I was living in his area at the time. My wife and I sort of moved there because she had work at the hospital that she was working at, and Don ran the Newmarket Games Club. Or was one of the people that ran the Newmarket Games
still
Club.
do. Yep.
Still does. That's right. And so I, being a hobby person myself at the time, and I was into a variety of different things. I checked them out a few times and met Don that way. But it really wasn't until a couple of years later, probably 2013.
Yeah,
2014.
it's. I think we had our first OSB GL League season in 2015, so probably would have been early 2014. Yeah, you asked me for a game of SBG, and I'm like, hey,
I got a whole bunch of Uruk.
I have an entire army painted in my basement for the last...
And covered in dust.
Yeah.
And so what happened was I got out of the game eventually because I had nobody to play with. And I was just getting back into the game because one of the local GWs and Ramel, who was running the store, I went down there and I was involved in their Path to Glory, and it was a Mirkwood Ranger set that really got me back into the game. The sculpts, and I love the sculpts, and I still do. They're beautiful sculpts for amazing, plastics, and that got me back into the game. And I was looking for players, and so I reached out to the. Well,
it was Lord of the Rings back when it came out.
Yeah.
It was kind of a funny system because it was a great set of rules, and incredibly popular piece of subject matter for them to put a miniature game out on. Tons of people bought the miniatures to collect them.
Yeah.
But like speaking from like a club guy's perspective, it never really caught on as a game. Now, yes, there were pockets of areas, like I know close to us, Barrie, they had like an active community.
That's right.
Of course, Games Workshop would have been running the games, but compared to some of the other miniature games,
they just didn't pick up as well.
But yet, like they were selling a ton of miniatures. So that's kind of, I think, helped in the resurgence of that game because there's been so many people in the background that have stuff.
That's right.
And it's it's not a big investment for them to get their stuff back out and put it on the table and play. Yeah. And that was the case with me with you. And now like this is my main game that I play now.
That's right. And it's obviously a main game that I still play too. I love it, and I collect a ton of stuff, and it's really rekindled that flame, these new sculpts, stuff like that. And now even now this year there's a whole bunch of new releases, and it's even rekindling people that much more, right?
Well, it's really encouraging because of what the community has done for the game, and really it was the community and the GBHL specifically that really pushed to have that game come back by GW.
And when we say GBHL, it's both the podcast, right, and the community over there for the actual league, right? So the two, because they are separate entities technically, right?
Having said all that, it still is a hard sell for people to jump into that game.
Yes.
It like from my perspective, like I run a club, been doing it for over 20 years. It's still a hard sell to get people to play that game because it's not huge in the mainstream. And you have to get people out from the shadows to kind of come and play, and it did have a bit of a stigma attached to it where it was obviously slated for it was going to be forgotten about.
Yeah, exactly. And they're getting rid of the license.
Yeah, it's been brought back, and the fact that they've got people working on the game is huge. And it makes it a lot easier to get people into the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and that's how we really met, was this game, and it's been now another 3-4 years, right? So, and since then you've continued to run the New America's Games Club.
Yep.
And then you also are one of the admins for the OSBGL, which is our Ontario Strategy Battle Game League.
Yep, that's true. And we really started that sort of, let's say, as a really organized group in the beginning of 2015. So we've had the 2015 season, and we had 10 to 12 tournaments.
Yeah,
and
first one was in Barrie.
2016, we had 11 or 12 tournaments. And now this year we've got a full slate of tournaments on for this year as well. So it's going really well. Yeah.
No, it's good. So with the 2015 season, we had 20. Our highest record was probably 20 some odd people.
Well, that season was the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
So honestly, that season was the year where Evan and I, more Evan than me, but I think I ran 2 or 3 tournaments, and he probably ran 4 that year.
I know I ran 1 because
you ran 1. So there was
in the fall.
There was a few of us doing a lot that year, and the turnout was low. Like, we did even have some tournaments with
6 guys.
No, I don't think we were ever that low, but like 10 maybe.
Yeah.
But I think it was that year we had we hit 30 with the season, the GT at the end of the year. And then the next year, 2016, we had a pretty healthy turnout for the whole year for a tournament. And that's the thing, like, for me, like, I love going to tournaments.
Absolutely. The community,
with my buddies. And we did it for years and years with 40K and till I stopped playing that game, which is a whole different subject.
We might discuss that later on. Not this video.
But that's the real draw, is that it's not only that you're going out to have a great time and play a great game, but it's the community and getting together and going to the different places to play.
Because you can't have a tournament without that community, and that's a big thing. And I think right now that's what we're finding this year in the OSBGL, is that you need to have that community side of things and not just the tournament side of things. Because if you don't have that community to foster the growth and encourage people to come out and just for games and everything, you won't have the increased turnout at the tournaments. That's exactly my thoughts.
Yep. And we need, that's the thing with any organization that's trying to build a community. You need other people to step forward. And
help it.
And help it. So like this year at the beginning of the year, we were trying to put our calendar of events together at the beginning of the year and just lay it out for the whole year. But it was pretty spotty, to be quite honest. We had, let's say, 2/3 of it filled. And we were like, well, what do we do? And I'm just like, just put it out with empty spots.
And people will.
Right? And it's like, you have to do that so that you have to give people the opportunity to come forward and offer. And that's exactly what happened. We probably had 2 or 3 new TOs jump in this year, which is great, because
like Justin, he's a new TO.
And Joseph Hanlon, that's been on
he was a new one.
Like he ran a tournament this year,
and he assisted with one, but he didn't run that one. It was more Ben, right?
Was it? Yeah, okay.
Like the one up in Barry's Bay.
No, that was last year.
Yeah, so he assisted with that one, I believe. He was like the co sort of, but like he took on the mantle of running this one.
Yeah, because he's down in Peterborough. That was great. And I may be forgetting somebody else, but there's 2 or 3 new people this year, which is great, because those of us that are on the admin and everything, we love to run the events too, but obviously we're busy.
But you got lots of other things that you do, like planning, the other events throughout the year. So, and I know myself, like I'm running another one this year as well, which we can discuss later.
We'll get to that.
And so, but we actually, I think, are deciding to cut down the number of tournaments this year in comparison to last year, to run more of the hobby side of things and the community side based events.
Well, it was one of the things, is like our league, there's other groups that have sprung up in Canada.
That's right.
On Hobbit SBG, soon to be Middle Earth SBG. ours is a competitive league. So,
Absolutely.
So that's what our deal is.
Yeah.
And last year and the year before, our goal was to run a tournament a month, so 12 competitive tournaments a year. But there are a lot of players, myself included, that like the non-competitive side of the event, and they're like kind of like, hey, what about us? We would like. So this year we sort of made space to run some non-competitives. Our first event this year in January was a non-competitive. It was in a Games Workshop store, and
the manager ran it for us.
Tim, and he gave us the whole store for the whole day for
awesome.
A game that they don't really have in the stores anymore.
They didn't have it in the stores anymore.
But you know what? We filled the store for the entire day, and we all bought stuff, and it was great.
Yeah, and
it was fantastic.
And having other people that play primarily like Age of Sigmar or 40K come up and be like, oh, what's this? What are you playing? It's it gave us time to shine and sort of help build it in that community.
And he put it up on his Facebook site, and so we had other people come, like first timers. There's a few first timers come.
Actually.
So that's good, and it's turned out. We're spending quite a bit of time talking about the OSBGL here. I hope you don't mind. But
no, I don't mind at all. It's good.
But it sort of that became sort of our main focus of our group for this year, and that is we need more players.
Yes.
Right. Like we have a really healthy group, but Ontario is a huge place.
That's right.
People don't realize that. It's like
it's
the size of England, but like with
easily the size of England, actually
population comparison.
That's right.
So anytime we do an event, we're traveling a long ways, and it's primarily like I think we've had over 60 different people playing our events now.
Yeah.
But it's primarily like the same group of 25 to 30 players that travels all over the countryside to play. So which is great, but I mean there is a burnout that does happen, and so we really need more people to dust off their figures they've had in their basement, or like go out and buy like a box set and paint it up and come and play. And so that's why we really wanted to run some non-competitives this year.
That's right.
I've run I think 3 or 4 tournaments over the last few years. And so this year I'm not running a tournament.
Instead,
I'm doing something else. But,
we'll discuss that too.
This year my event in September is a non-competitive. And actually, I'm going to be running it in consort with one of my games club's meetings. So it'll sort of be half my Newmarket Games Club and half OSBGL.
Which is cool.
So for me, it's going to work out great, but there's a lot of work to go into that too.
Absolutely, but we do have, like, when you think of other communities, like the GBHL, they have hundreds of players. They continuously have tournaments that are like.
That's the thing. Anyone that's into Games Workshop, and they may not realize, they may take it for granted, or they may not. I don't know, but like they live in the mecca of Games Workshop, and like for them, for us, it's like, oh my god, it's like they have a dense population in a small area with tons of Games Workshops.
Nottingham is known as the hub of games. Like you have Game Workshop there, what I mean? You have Warlord Games. They have their foundation there.
The other thing there that they have too, which is really good for them, is my impression is there is a lot more clubs in the UK than there is here. Like here, myself and my partner that runs the club with me, Chris Noakes, we've been running the club now, and I don't know when, like he started it when he was a young guy, but I've been in it for 25 years, something like that.
We're not gonna age
I'm old. I got no big deal. I'm over 50. But we've been running that club as an independent club. It runs in a scout hall. It's not sponsored by anybody. But you don't see that anymore.
No,
like you do in the cities. Usually, they'll, like in Toronto, there's a big games club, and Hamilton there's big. But other than that,
smaller
communities, you just don't see games clubs. It's all in store now, and even in store is becoming less common.
And like even touching on that, like here in my area, the Kawartha Lakes in Ontario, we have a place that we're trying to get up and running as a games club. You know what I mean? But it's been ran for 4 sessions, and you can see the numbers already dwindle. Our local gaming store is more of a hobby shop for like railroad trains, model cars, things along those lines. They don't really know much about the hobby side of well, I should say like the gaming side of the hobby. They just know about more the construction side of things. Yeah. And so their support really isn't there. And that's what happens with us. So we do have a community in our area that plays, but there's no local place to play. Like I have a big enough place that I can run 3 or 4 tables worth of games here. But everybody, because I live out in the country, the country, farm fields all around me.
You gotta drive like for an hour through the forest and the farmers' fields to get here.
Bring your axe, you're cutting down some trees. But they have to drive like 20 minutes, you know what I mean? Like from Lindsay, the town, to where I live outside of it. And some people just aren't up for that, you know what I mean? And it sucks, but I can give them a place to play.
Well, I'll tell you one, like it's not you that's running that club, right?
No, I'm just sort of help. It's Ian, and I'm just trying to help.
So what's going on with it right now? Is it in limbo?
It's sort of in limbo because he, with the numbers dropping, he's losing money, and it's and he's an artist. Like he's an artist that literally he sells his works and makes monies, and so he'll sell his artwork for RPG games and other things like that. And so like he can't take a continuous hit of money, you know what I mean?
Well, any venture of this nature,
that's right,
there's a financial side, and at the end of the day, the finances have to work out.
That's right, or else it's not worth doing.
Like obviously there's you have to volunteer your time and maybe volunteer a little bit of like prize support or whatever, but at the bottom of the day there is a dollars and cents side to all of these things. When you're renting a venue, well, you got to come up with the money.
That's right.
But what I would say to Ian is dealing with the ambivalence of the average person, even the interested gamer, it's very, very difficult to actually get them to come and put miniatures on the table or dice on the table. It's very easy for people to join Facebook groups and watch and talk. But to actually get them to physically come out and play and meet people, it is incredibly difficult. I've run a club for over 20 years. That is the main thing that you have to deal with. The main difficulty that you have to deal with is actually just get people to come. Even if you run it regularly every week or every other week like clockwork, it's very difficult to get people to come out for some reason. And I don't know what it is. It could be because it's so much easier to play a computer game, or maybe people have an issue socially, don't want to come out, they're shy, whatever.
But we encourage them to come in, right?
What I would say for Ian, for his thing is like, don't give up on it. If you're doing it every other week and it's not happening, do it less frequently, but
do it once a month.
Don't stop doing it. Right. Even if you have to do it once a quarter or twice a year or one time a year convention, do it. Just do it
because that will keep it consistent, and that will hopefully grow. Right.
It's easy for me to say because this is not my thing that I'm running, but it's really easy to try and give up. Our club's been running for over 25 years. We still have days where we get 5 people.
But you have your foundation, right? And we're just trying to he's trying to establish that foundation. And I completely support him in it because we do need that here. Because for people that live in our area to go anywhere, it's a good 40-minute drive, you know what I mean, to get to some of the larger communities. Like to get to your club from the Lindsay area, it's an hour to an hour and a half, right? So like it took you like 55 minutes to drive to my house today and to do this with you guys. So
I had to stop a few times to figure out where the heck I was. So it was probably more than that. But
why do I hear banjos playing in the background here? Should that guy be carrying around that axe on his shoulder? I hope that's just for cutting wood.
No, it's actually a beautiful country where you live out here. But even our club, where we are, we've had a great deal where we are. We've been playing in a scout hall, which you don't even see too many of those around anymore here. And it's so old and rickety that the town is finally. Actually, they've been warning us for years, but they finally are this year. They're tearing it down. So we're losing the spot that we've been in for the last 20 years. And we've had a great deal, like financially set up with the scouts because for us or for them, any money they get from us, it's just
extra money.
It's bonus, right?
That's right.
For them. Right. So it's, you know, sometimes we can afford to give them more, sometimes less.
Yeah.
But for them, it's free money.
Extra.
It's found money, right?
Yeah.
Now we have to like rent a venue. So right
and that
away,
will change the dynamics.
You know, we were meeting once a week for years, and then we were dealing with just low turnout. So it was like then for the last, I don't know, 5+ years, it's been once every other week. Well, now, you know, starting in July, I guess this year, it's going to go down to once a month.
That's scary.
But on the upside, it'll be a full day once a month.
Will draw more people in.
I hope so. Yeah, but the whole cost thing is going to change for us. So, you know, new territory for us there as well. So I kind of know what Ian has been going through. Yeah, and it is hard.
Yeah, and so Ian, just stick to it. If you're watching this, make sure you stick to it.
Definitely. So, don't give up on that.
That's right, because the community needs it, you know, and the big thing is like you can make it grow, and like I'm going to continue to try to support it as much as I can. Heck, you know what I mean?
I'm going to be running my club like half as much, so I'm going to have some free time. I'll come out.
There you go. So we got another guy coming. So that's basically how we got meeting, is through these clubs and that's really how the Hobbit, you know, OSBGL league here in Ontario started, was through these clubs and everybody sort of getting together. It really was a bunch of guys in Hamilton at first. Hamilton area.
Well, it was Jordan Giacinti that he had started a very small group, and I met him because my daughter was working sort of in that direction,
and so you just
and actually I got his name from the GBHL guys, and we hooked up for a couple of games, and then I found out about his Facebook group and joined that, and we started making more of it, and then
you met him through the GBHL group. Surprise!
And I think they pointed me to the One Ring, and I went on the One Ring and didn't have it. I didn't have a lot of luck, but then I saw his name on some of the posts on their YouTube stuff, and they mentioned him. Oh, like this guy in Canada, blah blah blah. And then so I just located him,
and away you went. So but we do have a as much as we're saying it's a smaller community, we do have communities throughout Canada that, you know, are trying to sort of bolster the hobby.
Hobby
in
I know. You know, we're sort of, I guess you could say, central Canada, Ontario. And there's like West Coast Hobbit League.
Jin has really been the forerunner of that group.
And I know, I'm pretty sure I read somewhere on a Facebook group that him and a bunch of his guys are going to Nova this year.
They're a bunch going to Nova, which I really want to go to, but family stuff.
Me too. I'm not going to say I'm not going, but it's probably
last minute decisions.
It's probably a 90% no at this point, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'm sitting at like a 95% no. I might have to sweet talk the wife a little bit, and maybe do like a honey-do list for the next 3 months beforehand. So
but not just West Coast, like those guys. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not really familiar too much with their group, but I don't think they actually run a league. It's a league.
They run tournaments, but it's not like, I don't believe that they have a league standings. And Jen, you can correct us. I know you watch these videos and stuff, so correct us and let us know.
It may be a case where they're building towards that, or maybe they are running.
They are building stuff, because but
I know I've read on their site or on their Facebook group before that they're really a welcoming community over there, and anybody that is into the game that comes out there, they all get together.
That's right. And they've had open invites, you know what I mean? He's like, oh, you should come over sometime. I'd love to. I've never been to the West Coast of Canada because it's so huge.
Hey, road trip right there.
That's right, We'll take the train or something or fly, you know, who knows. But we also have Montreal has a small Hobbit.
And that actually... believe it or not, one of the guys anywhere that started that Montreal Hobbit League, he actually was coming. He's come to a few
of our events,
and I think it was in Peterborough he came.
He did.
And he drove all the way there, which is a long ways. It's like, what, 4 hours or
more?
5 hours?
It's probably closer to 5 hours.
Yeah, he drove all the way there. Slept in his car, right? And
kudos to you.
And did the tournament. So that was, So now he's started up a group there, and hopefully get some participation out there too.
That's right. And anytime I see people, because like we have the largest Canadian-based group. As the OSBGL, I believe, unless there's a hidden one that I don't know about. And so we have people from other provinces in Canada join us and are looking for people. And so if I for the Montreal group, if I ever see somebody on our group that's new, I'll generally introduce myself, say, hey, how's it going, and ask where they're located. So that way I can sort of like, if I know the other people in their area, I can sort of throw them over that way.
Well, it's really good for that, because like even here in Ontario, we've been around. This is our third full year of operating as a league that is established. Yeah, we still have people like in Toronto that don't know about it and just find out about it out of the blue. And it's like, how can you not know about it? But that's one of the weird things I was talking about at the beginning with this. It's like there's so many people that have product for Lord of the Rings and have had it for years. That's right. And maybe they're only just finding out now 3 years later that, hey, there's a big active group in Ontario, and it's come on out and play.
But the big thing is we don't have a lot of public face, let's say. Like, we don't actually, like, how often, like, there's been a couple of things that we've promoted publicly, you know what I mean, but we don't really promote our events publicly. It's only on our league page that we promote, you know what I mean?
Like, you're talking like a YouTube channels and...
Well, no, even just like in notices, posting a notice in a hobby store, you know what I mean? Like, hey, we're getting together here on this day, come join us, if you're interested in checking out the hobby, right? We do more things we do right now, promote on our page, but how do we get people into our page, you know what I mean? And that's one thing
we're working on it.
Exactly.
Evan has worked on that in the past. And I know he and the rest of the group will be working on that again in the future. So, but it is getting people out. That's the big thing right now, because we know there are people out there. We got to get them to come out and play, and we know there are people that aren't playing it now that would love it.
Well, there's a bunch of guys that in like the Markham area, which is close to where you live, that haven't been out to any tournaments, you know what I mean, and are just now sort of becoming
who are these
on the
people?
Facebook.
I don't know who these
There's,
people are. I'm just kidding.
So it's good, the build up, you know what I mean? We're getting there, and we just got to continue to be public.
But it's good to have all these other groups springing up, because then you can point people in their direction.
That's right. And it's good to have the worldwide connection, because like, as you said, with meeting Jordan, you met him through the One Ring, and the GBHL sort of pointing him at him. You know what I mean? So it's really good.
Otherwise, it would never have.
That's right.
Would never have.
That's right.
Met him
and like other places, like we got the Confederation of Easterlings, which is our East Coast guys, and that was Taylor. I think he undertook that.
Is that Nova Scotia?
I believe it is that sort. I'm just going to generalize and say
Eastern Canada.
Eastern Canada. And that's just because out in his hometown, he's trying to. He goes out there regularly, so he's trying to bolster the sort of growth of the community out there and get people playing, because he has friends that are interested in the game, but there's nobody, you know what I mean? They have no other people, and that's the hardest thing, is how you start. Well, you just put 1 foot forward, right? And that's what Taylor, I think, did with that Confederation of Easterlings. And then a new group we found out too here in Ontario.
Yeah, another Ontario group. Yeah, it's a different kind of group. It's a small group of guys.
That's right.
They're doing their own thing. It's definitely a non-competitive Ontario Hobbit Adventures. Yeah, and there's
association. Hobbit Association.
I think it's Adventures, actually.
Is it?
I think so.
I thought it was Association.
Yeah,
correct us, guys, please.
But it's George and... Is it Jason?
There's a third, I thought.
There was a third guy, Forgive me for not knowing the name.
I'm going to look it up right now.
But they just decided, like, we got a big competitive...
Adventures.
We have a big competitive group in Ontario, and they're a little further removed as well. They're a little bit towards the west of the province. But, so they're running a few events, but they're definitely they're like a non-competitive. They're like they just did. There's a convention here, mostly historical games, Hot Lead. That's right. It's been going on for years and years. Yeah. And they set up a booth this year at Hot Lead and made some like amazing tables.
Why don't we show them right here?
Yeah, definitely.
So we got, and so like the training that they've been doing is like they did the Gondor ruins and they did a Moria board and like they built up all this just for their demos.
Goblin Town.
Sorry, yes.
Really, it was really, really well done, and a bunch of our guys went because they were there. A bunch of our guys went. And spent the day there with them. And to all accounts, it was really successful. They had a lot of people playing. This was at ostensibly a convention.
Yes. And they just have demo
I think
tables.
that there are a lot of conventions going on in the area. So,
we just need to do what they're doing to help grow.
So this is something that like all of us have sort of started to say, hey,
they have something to grow the community is doing those demos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So and so obviously there's our league that we've discussed already, right? And then I do my stuff on Blackfyre Productions, but like anybody that's watching and probably already knows that, right? So at least I hope, and if you don't, subscribe, hit the button.
You're not like a club per se or group per se, but like you're a successful YouTuber in the area that semi-successful YouTuber. Well, what's your subscriber number now?
I'm just under 1,000.
Oh, that's
okay.
really good.
It's okay.
Our,
it's good.
Our YouTube channel for the OSBGL has 40.
Woohoo!
So look out, we're right on your tail.
But I'm looking at other channels like Grill and Minter Games has like 20 some odd thousand,
and he does the odd SBG
Ash
thing.
does, yeah.
But yeah.
And the big thing is just you got to make sure, like, we just got to get people to play, right? And so, like, right now I'm on a streak where I'm like, I've got a lot of matches, and a lot of people have came out recently to play the Hobbit, so I love it, you know what I mean? So I've been able to film, like, in a day, 2 battle reports with a couple of guys, you know what I mean? Or whatever, like, we'll be getting a small one in here after this, right? Yep. So, but yeah, it's all about building that community and supporting it and stuff like that. And like now I don't just focus Blackfyre wise just on the Hobbit, but because it is a game that I love and I'm passionate about, obviously it's one of my main focuses.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a great system.
And it's the same with me. Like I'm involved with running 2 groups.
Yeah.
One is dedicated to that game, Hobbit SBG, and one is a club. So I do a lot of other gaming, miniature gaming, board gaming, all kinds of other stuff.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
So, let's swing on to the next topic here. Later on this year, starting in April, you're doing an event.
Yeah, so back, I really wanted to try to not run a tournament this year so that I could do something else.
Yeah.
Kind of worked. I'm now running a non-competitive event, which is probably going to be more work than running a tournament.
I think so, the way that you're laying it out.
But anyways, everybody is looking to try to find a way to get more people.
And so far you are with some of the people that are coming in the woodwork.
So my effort is to start up a battle companies. Campaign. Okay. And Andreas has run one in Norway for 3 years, I think. He just did his 3rd year, so I talked a little bit with him about how he did it, and really organized. I would say it's micromanaged because he gets into tracking like all of the individual players' warbands and stats, which is amazing.
If you have the time,
scared the bejeebers out of me because it's like I was hoping that we would get at least 20. Yeah. And to do that for 20 people over the period of time that we're doing it, it's no. Yeah, it's just I would be doing literally nothing else. But anyways, we're going to be running a Battle Companies campaign. Yeah. And Battle Companies for SBG is you're basically playing with a dozen miniatures, let's just say. And it's easy to get people into the game.
The buy-in is
you go out and buy one box set of plastics. Yeah. You're good. Right,
that's good,
and that doesn't take like already. I've given away
more than that
an army to a guy, or an army, a warband. Yeah, and I'm loaning another guy that are first timers. One to play with. So it's like it's very easy to do that with battle companies because the commitment is really low. Yeah, and we're going to be running 12 games. And these games generally run from the game and the bookkeeping afterwards. You're looking at probably an hour and 15 per game, maybe, right? So 12 games, that it's not a huge commitment.
Yeah, right? No, it's not at all. And they're spread out too. Yeah, so that's a good thing.
So I've already nagged a few people to help me, which is Taylor, who we already mentioned, Joseph Hanlon,
who we already mentioned,
and Derek, who is also going to help out. So those 3 guys are going to help me over the next few months,
let's just push, which is great. And I'll just mentioning Derek for a second here. Derek has been in the league for about a year now, somewhere
Give or
around
take,
there.
yeah.
Give or take,
Yeah.
right? But like he's really somebody that I've been kind of impressed with the enthusiasm that he's been putting out, you know what I mean, and the willingness to sort of venture out there and try things and get involved and stuff like that.
Well, he's jumped in. He's already his first year last year. He TO'd an event. This year he's TOing an event.
That's right.
He's helping me with this battle companies thing.
He loves the game, and the good thing is though that with Derek is that he has his son Ronan that's playing as well.
Yeah, Ronan,
And
so it's a family thing. It's a family thing.
Awesome. I love seeing that.
And the funny thing too is like Ronan, Derek's got 4 kids. Ronan's the oldest, and I don't, forgive me Ronan, I don't know your age, but
I think he's like 12 or 13.
Yeah, he's in there.
But he actually does really well at the tournaments.
Did he not come in second?
He did
second at the last turn. And speaking of that, he beat me in a game.
But his army was a Goblin Town horde.
Yeah,
like almost 100 models, or was it more than 100 models?
It had to be. I think it was just over that. Yeah, because I had a big army too, but it was nowhere near that. But now Derek's next oldest kid
is now interested. That's awesome
as well. And so who knows? Maybe be seeing another.
I know for me, like it's great, and because like my kids are young. My oldest is 4 at this point in time. I have a 1-year-old, and I have another baby on the way.
Yeah. What's up with that, man?
I look at I look at my wife the wrong way, and poof, she's pregnant. But with my oldest son, I got Smog 2 Christmases ago, and like I would be painting him after Christmas and building him, and he's like, "Oh, Daddy, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm building Smog." And so like now he sees Smog, he's like, "Oh, Daddy, Smog, he's awesome," and he's already starting to have that interest in the models. I'm like, yes,
future SBG player.
That's right.
There you go.
Right.
Well, in a couple of years, you can get him to play battle companies.
That's right. I'll get him, start him small, start him easy, and go from there.
The guy that runs the Newmarket Games Club with me, Chris.
Yeah.
He he's huge into miniatures and whatnot. Yeah. He has a 6-year-old, right? And Chris and Chris's wife have been reading them The Hobbit, the book.
Awesome.
To their son and daughter. Yeah. Well, now he's like super keen on it.
That is
and so
awesome.
So I'm like, you know what you should do? You should buy the Goblin Town box set.
And
like that set alone is good for you guys for like a long time. True. Right? You got it. Yeah. You went out and bought it. Yeah. So there you go.
That's cool. That's a great idea. Get another one. So and it's funny actually because I plan on doing it with all my kids. Like with the baby that's on the way. Like I snuck in a Lord of the Rings name, and so she's being named Arwen. So really? Yeah, really. My wife, who's hasn't liked many of my name ideas because I come out with some weird ones that I'm like, oh yeah, it's really cool. Like Octavian, we want originally we both liked Octavian. It's an older Roman sort of style name, right? It has its roots back in Rome, and I love the way that it sounded. And I'm a huge fan of history and archaeology and everything else like that. And so at first she was like, yeah, okay. Yeah. And she's like, I don't like it anymore. I'm like, And so we're going to Ottawa for a wedding, and we're talking about names because we knew we were pregnant, and nobody else really knew at that point in time. We were talking names, and we were like 2 months in, so we weren't out of the first trimester yet. And she's like, you can name, because Amanda has had the names for both boys. Yeah. You know, originally she wanted Jack for her first son, and I'm like, well, I like Jackson, but you can still call him Jack by calling him Jackson. So it was a compromise, but she basically got what she wanted. Yeah. Our second son, Elijah, she wanted Eli. Mm-hmm. Sorry again.
That works because you guys are out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. So, Eli is good.
So Eli. So I liked Elijah. He's sort of older, slightly older sounding. Eli is older sounding too. And so, but she got what she wanted. Yeah. So she said I had permission to name the baby.
So this is number 3.
Number 3.
It's all you, right?
It's all me. She's like, but you can't call it any like weird Hobbit or Lord of the Rings name. So here I am thinking in my head. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I'll slip one past her. I'm like, how about Arwen? She's like, oh, I like that. Yeah. And I'm like, yes. And I had this big grin on my face. Well, we're driving, and I had a big grin on my face. She's like, looks at me. She's like, why? It's not a Hobbit or Lord of the Rings name, is it? I'm like, yeah.
Like, no.
No, I told her. She's like, and she's like, well, I do like how it sounds. I'm like, yes. And so it's sticking. So her daughter's going to be Arwen. So Arwen, Mary, and then Chandler, obviously. So cool. Yeah.
So yeah, well, hopefully the battle companies thing is going to get like young people.
That's maybe not 4-year-old young, but yeah,
like get some younger guys into the game, and this is like an easy way to do it.
Absolutely.
So I'm really hoping. So far, it's been good. We're starting in like another week or two.
Yeah.
And right now we've got 21 people signed up right now.
Awesome.
So that's great. So, but like with any campaign,
it will start out strong.
It's the peter out factor.
That's right.
That you have to deal with, because like everybody is big on the beginning.
Yeah,
it's like keeping it going. So I've got it arranged in sort of 3 stages. So it sort of gives it 3 sort of starting points almost to help with that. Cool. We'll see, but yeah, hopefully that's gonna get us another. Even if we can get a half dozen people, that's a huge number. Yeah,
and even if we can get out of that half of those guys being new.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so for me,
half dozen new people.
Oh, absolutely. Why not? So for me, and for me, I'm taking it as an opportunity to start a small new force, because I got a bunch of Gondor sitting around my house, huge amount of Gondor, and I got a Gondor faction in a huge lot that I bought untouched, and I had a bunch of stuff that I've been just picking up bits and pieces here and there and untouched.
FYI, 4 people playing Gondor so far.
God. Okay, well, I'll make mine Ithilien, because I have the Ithilien upgrades, right? Yeah. So I'll do more like
I did the same with mine. I was just going to run my Uruk-hai, because I'm focusing on that army this year. Yeah. But I'm you know what? I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna do something that I don't have pain in. Yeah. So
I could do Lake Town. I could focus on Lake Town, like the survivors of Lake Town, not regular Lake Town, just because I do. That is the second army that I want to focus on this year.
Do it.
Thoughts? My army might be changing now.
So what about you? What do you got going on this year? Because I know you got something going on.
Oh, I do have something. I always got something going on. So I'm always scheming somewhere or something. But no, I think the big focus for me this year, besides continuing, I'm trying to really grow the channel. Obviously, and I want to get as many subscribers and stuff like that, and I've sort of ventured out into Spreadshirt to buy, you can get shirts, and now Patreon and things like that, and so I'm trying to grow in multiple different ways. But a big focus of me this year is actually my involvement in the Capital City Bloodbath, which is a convention in the Ottawa area. They've been running for 4 years now, I think it is.
That's good.
And they have multiple different tournaments that are happening over a 3-day convention. So they have 40K, used to have Warhammer Fantasy, now it's Age of Sigmar. They now also have X-Wing. I don't know if it's coming back this year or not, but War Machine, Batman miniature game, and now The Hobbit, because of my involvement and with the help of Taylor and Lewis. Yeah, and so we're really trying to push that. It's going to be a 3-day event. There's going to be the Friday is going to be the doubles, and then Saturday, Sunday is going to be the GT over 2 days, three games.
So you're just running a Hobbit SBG. That's your whole weekend, right?
That's my whole weekend. I'm running 2 tournaments over 3 days, right? Mm-hmm. There's going to be other things there. I've really, and I'm not going to take anything away from the other tournament organizers or anything like that, because they do a great job. But I've been trying to spearhead swag bags and stuff like that this year. So I got a ton of stuff in my house that. I'm just storing right now.
Have they not done that before?
I don't think so. I think it's new this year, actually. Yeah. I think it was left up to the tournament organizers, where I'm trying to do it for everybody. So everybody gets pretty much the same thing. We'll have a couple of things thrown in for the Hobbit players, Hobbit-based dice bags that my wife is making. Yes, I roped her into making Hobbit-based dice bags for us. And so I've been reaching out to different companies and just working on getting support.
How's the feedback been on that?
Very positive, actually. Very positive. I got Cromlech. They're sponsoring the Best Painted Army for the 40K tournament and sending us bits and stuff like that to hand out. I got Generation Shift sending us some bases.
Amazing.
I have Secret Weapon Miniatures. They're sending us some bases and coupons and whatever else they want to send us. I have.
You had pro painters or something?
Yeah, so I have a guy that I use that has painted up a bunch of my Marvel miniatures, because being a parent, you don't got a lot of time. And so he's actually giving everybody a discount onto for his services. So it's Battle Brothers Painting Commission, Battle Brothers Studios. And so Adam is thankfully doing that for us as well as for our best painted stuff.
Yeah.
He said he'd be willing to do a
That's
diorama.
amazing. Sounds like you put a lot of work into just that part of it.
Trying. So, and I got some good support. So,
really.
Gamer Grass, they're sending us some stuff. And there's a few others. You can check out the website. I have a link below. Check it out.
So for your Hobbit tournament, what are the you got doubles on Friday and singles on Saturday, Sunday? What are the point values and?
So Friday is 3 games, and we're thinking originally we wanted high numbers, like 600 points per side. I'm like, in the time frame, that's not realistic because double games take longer than a single game because you have 4 minds talking and going. Yeah. So we were thinking 600. We're like, because it's 3 hours per match. That's how long you have on Friday for the doubles. Each match is 3 hours long, so it's going to be a 9-hour day there. And so we're thinking 600 points per person, but now we're sort of settling on 500-ish. I don't have the tournament pack quite done yet because I haven't received a schedule from the other tournament organizers because I'm trying to line up with theirs because with the tickets that you buy, you get a lunch every day and free drinks, right?
That's part of your
That's part of the entry.
Yeah.
And then you got your swag bag.
That's good.
And then you have access to their trading table. And then you have, they do a painting competition through the whole entire tournament, and you have access to that.
So the trading table is you bring up like a bunch of stuff you want to get rid of.
That's right.
Price on
and exactly.
They look after it for you?
They look after it for you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, and so you basically, they keep track of everything. You know, you have your prices on it, and if you go from like, you can set like a price from this price to this price, you know, so your lowest to highest, and they'll take care of that for you for the whole entire weekend, hold on to your money for you, and catalog everything for you. Yeah. And so that's what the trading is, right? So that way it's not taking away from the gaming, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. So you get all that stuff, plus obviously the tournament itself and all that. So which will be fun.
So this is your first year running this
at this venue, yes.
From the perspective of an organizer, like what's your goal in terms of turnout? Because I mean, honestly, it is a long way from Toronto.
Yep.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
That. And some of our other mutual friends are going to be there for sure. But like for you, like what is it? Like what do you want to see in terms of numbers?
So I want to see at least 20 people out there. That's just to make it somewhat comparable, right? My hard cap is 64, right? But I know we won't get that. No. But that's what the limit that they set me at, right? Yeah. But I'd be happy if we hit 30 people plus.
Yeah.
I would be happy with
20. That. Although it may seem like a modest number for this kind of event, it is your first year.
That's right.
And 20, you can actually still run a really good tournament.
That's
with 20.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, and both of the tournaments I've ran in the previous years, I've had mid-20s.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, I should be able to get my minimum of 20. That's where I want to be at for this tournament.
I guess the concern is, though, it is a busy summer with tournaments and other tournaments and international events and everything like that.
And that's the thing is I had no say over when the date is because they already had it planned. And unfortunately, it's 2 weeks after Articon and 2 weeks before Nova. And I'm just like, But again, I knew that date. I couldn't announce it. So all of a sudden there's an announcement, Articon this day and Nova this day. And I'm like, no. Now I'm competing with them, right? And I don't want to, but that's what it is.
Well, don't look at it as competing. It's more like inconvenient timing.
It's inconvenient timing, and I'm not going to compete. I don't want to take anything away from those guys because James running Articon last year, which I had a chance to go to, was phenomenal. In the last 2 years with Nova has been great both years. It allowed me to meet all the guys from GBHL and 2 years ago, and then when they came back last year, allowed me to continue growing that bond and being able to talk with them. And I had fun both times. You were at the last year, and you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was great. Really enjoyed it. It was a really good time. But any trip like that, whether it be overseas or we drove down to Washington. Yeah, it was a long
day.
But any trip like that, I mean, you're looking at multiple days and time off work and away from family. So
and those are all things.
It's a big realistic things you have to factor in. You can only do so many of those trips.
That's right.
In a year,
and so what?
Let alone a month.
Yeah, and really, what I'm trying, like my mindset behind this whole tournament isn't to let's be as big as Nova, let's be as big as Articon. It's not that because let's be realistic. We don't have a convention the size of Nova here in Ontario, right? Like we don't. I think we have Astronomicon.
Yeah.
And that might have a couple hundred players, but it's not nearly as big.
And it's 40K.
That's it. That's it. 40K. That's right.
And it's more like 50 to 100.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. Where for me, my whole thought process behind that is that our league players don't all have the ability to go to Nova, to Articon, to whatever.
Yeah.
Because for both years for Nova, I've been trying to sort of promote it around here and trying to get people going. Like, hey, who's all going?
And we still have a lot of people that are going to go.
I think. Right? Well, yeah, I'm hoping. You know,
like to Nova, I mean.
Yeah.
Like we still have a lot of people.
Like I know Joe and Ben, I think are.
They're both going, and I know I've heard a few other people say they're going to go.
Well, Evan's going, and Antonio are going. You know what I mean? So it's still not a bad little turnout for driving. 13 hours with your pit stops and everything. But so it's not about me competing. It's about me giving something back to the community to sort of help have them have a taste of that. You know what I mean? And to just get away and enjoy themselves with Hobbit SBG all weekend.
So far, there's really no presence in Ottawa for SBG players in Ontario.
No.
We did have one tournament there late last year, which was reasonably good turnout.
Successful, considering,
but no Ottawa players.
Yeah.
Ironically.
That's weird.
So getting another tournament out there and a big one.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get some because I guarantee you there's got to be a bunch of people in the area that play.
And even if we don't get a bunch of people out, we're going to get a lot of people because there's going to be a couple hundred people here for the different tournaments, and I'm going to have a demo board up so that people can at least try it out. You know what I mean? So other gamers can be like, "Oh, what's this?" You know what I mean? I've never seen this before. How do you play? And one of the three of us, Taylor, myself, or Lewis, can sit there and be able to explain the game and have them test it out for a little bit and everything else.
Yeah, that's really good.
So that's the idea behind that, is to sort of help grow with the community and everything else for me. So yeah.
Well, I wish you all the best of luck. I'll be there. Yeah. And I also agreed to help you out a little bit with training. Yeah, that's the big thing is the big thing that the Capital City Bloodbath pushes is good looking boards. They don't want sparse boards. They don't want any of that. They want the boards to look good. So my goal for this is to introduce my Lake Town board. Yeah. And so I got like 9 Lake Town houses I got to paint up, and then I have what? 4 or 5 other mats that I can use. Actually 4 other mats that I can use, and that I know I can cover with terrain by myself, right? Yeah. And so it's just a matter of getting everything all set up, and Taylor's done a good job sort of helping organize that, going, okay, these are how many mats I have and what I can field sort of design wise, you know what I mean? And same with Lewis, he's given Taylor the stuff that he can do, and I've given him mine, and then with your help, that's going to greatly give us more tables. And, you just let me know what you need. And like I already told you, I'm good for 4 or 5 tables.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that gets us 8 to 10 players.
I've been, for the YouTube videos that I've been filming, have been all terrain,
which is great.
Terrain making.
I'm hoping I can use them. And I'm really hoping I can draw in people from Montreal. You know what I mean? And Quebec. And I'm really hoping that I can draw in the OHA guys. And even if they could help out, you know what I mean?
Get them to come and run the demo table.
That's what I was going to say, you know what I mean? Have them come out and throw their demo table up, because their demo table looks amazing. And so that's what I'm hoping, and then we can just sort of grow the community that much more. So
right on. So what do you say we end off this first episode with something not strategy battle?
So I guess today being Saturday, there was pre-orders on GW for a new, I don't want to say new because it's not new, but it's a new box set that they have, and it's something that I'm excited here on Blackfyre Productions for, because I'll be covering it. It's the Shadow Wars Armageddon game.
Okay, now this is something that I don't really know anything about. So
so basically what it is, have you ever played Necromunda?
Yes.
Then you know about it.
Okay.
Because what it is a reskinning of Necromunda. They're using very similar rules to Necromunda, if not all exactly the same, let's be honest. But they're introducing more models to it.
It's a tabletop miniature game with campaign and
narrative sort of. Exactly. So your models will grow, sort of like Battle Companies, what you do with that, but 40k based, right? So and set in the 40k system. Well, I can't say 40k system. It's set in this their their sort of story, their world,
in
their setting.
In the 40K universe.
That's in the 40K universe. Yeah. And so I'm going to be pairing up with Scarredcast, Rid Band from Scarredcast, and we're going to be doing a coverage of it. And so we're going to probably be doing like an unboxing and do a couple of battle reports at first together and sort of like a how to play the game for the people that don't know how to play
So now, is this going to be like 40K where you have to go out and buy either a digital download or a hardcover book that for your army and all that?
No.
So do you have to have the 40K rule book to play it?
The rules are completely separate. So right now with the pre-orders, I can't say what's happening here in Canada because it actually hasn't went up on our website yet.
Okay.
But I've checked out the UK website and others, and it's already sold out over there within the first, I want to say, 3 hours.
That's encouraging.
That is very encouraging. And it's like, and GW has been like, we didn't know it was going to be this popular.
Yeah.
It is a limited run box set. We didn't know it was going to be this popular.
Well,
but
this is the, and I don't know the gentleman's name who's now the CEO of Games Workshop, but that's been obviously what their focus has been doing, has been all-in-one box games.
That's right.
Which is
not a bad thing. I
love it.
Yeah.
I love it because you know, I played 40K.
Yeah, 20K.
Sorry, I was gonna say I played 40K for 20 years.
Yeah.
From when it was first released.
We were not trying to
in the
date
late
you here,
80s.
dude.
No, but I haven't played for 10 years just because the game got to a point where it just wasn't for me. Let's leave it at that.
That's right.
It wasn't for me.
I'm in the same boat.
And I've said for quite a long time that it would take a hell of a lot to get me back into the game.
Yeah.
But this kind of grassroots sort of
is the way to do it.
Is the way that it would have to happen. So because I still have a ridiculous amount of 40K stuff in my basement.
Yeah.
That it would be nice to use
instead of just having collecting dust. So like your Hobbit stuff.
Yeah. So this is actually encouraging.
Yeah. So the box set itself comes with new terrain pieces that aren't even released yet anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this big furnace and like walkway and everything else.
Necromunda.
It's because it's the box set is set in the underhive of Armageddon. Right, the planet of Armageddon, right? So, and I'm a huge fan of the setting and the fluff. I really like it, but again, I'm in the same boat. The rules just sort of went such a way that I'm like,
in the first incarnation of Necromunda, it was all about like hive gangs,
and that's
so. Is it the same sort of thing now, or no?
It's all about they're using current factions. But in a small scale.
It's like Space Marines and Eldar and
there's Eldar teams, there's Dark Eldar teams, there's Harlequin teams. Currently, they have a list of 12 different factions that you can use. You can use Grey Knights, Tyranids, Space Marines Scouts. There's no regular Space Marines. Yeah. There's Chaos, which does have Chaos Space Marines, but it also has like the cultist side of things. Right. What else? There's
apparently the hive known as Armageddon has got some crazy stuff going on.
I guess so, yeah. So I don't know much about what's happening in Armageddon. Hopefully some of these people might. But yeah, so we're going to be covering that. I already have a pre-order in for my copy of the book. Well, I can't even say a through the guy that I make all my purchases, Sequence Comics, which I always have a link in the description of the video to sort of promote them because you can get 20% off any of your stuff that you buy through them if you tell them that you're coming from Blackfyre Productions. So it's great for buying things on a little bit of a cheaper cost, right? So I buy through him and support him because he's willing to support me. And so I already gave him my money. I'm like, order this for me, please. Yeah. And so Dan's been really good with ordering that stuff and getting it in. So it's a great. It looks like it's going to be a really great system. You can actually find the rules for the factions online already. It's a PDF that you can find. Mm-hmm. I already have it downloaded. And my faction, I use 3 to 5 models, which is 1 box of Grey Knights. And so that's it. Other factions have more, up to like 15, 20. I think the Orcs might have 20.
So this will be, for them, another way for people to use pre-existing plastic sets they already sell, which is really smart.
Yeah,
which is really smart.
And even the HQs and stuff like that, because you can hire like different specialist troops. that will like come fight with you for like one mission, and cost a certain amount of like promethium, which is sort of like their credit sort of system, and there's like commissars,
similar to what like Blood Bowl has that sort of concept, and Mordheim, they all had those hired mercenary,
but they're all from the same era, right?
Yeah,
and that's the big thing. So and so the starter box comes with 2 factions, comes with 10 Space Marine Scouts, 5 normal, 5 snipers. I think it's 12 or 15 orc warriors. I can't remember their faction or what they're called. Just orc boys, I think. And then it comes with the terrain pieces, your actual rule book, because that's the only way you can get the rule book is buying the starter box.
Okay.
But because it's so popular, they're also releasing it in a PDF format. But I always like having the new book, so it's good.
Plus, who doesn't like buying one of those box sets?
Yeah, well, and the value, it's going to be $160 in Canadian. So so basically, over in England, that's what I was looking at. In the UK, their value is half of what we pay. So if theirs is £80, okay, then our same box set will be 160. It's always double, even though that's not how the dollar skews.
Canadian or US?
160 Canadian.
Canadian.
So it's 160 Canadian, right? That's what it should be. And so when you think of the value, you already have in the box set like $70, $80 worth of models, not including the brand new terrain pieces, because there's 2 of them, and then the walkways that you can use to connect them in there. Then you have your templates, then you have your dice, then you have your tokens, then you have your rule book, and it's great.
The box sets that they're putting out right now are one way that they can actually discount some of their models. And I don't know if you know this, but I actually did buy one of their box sets recently for one of the standalone.
Gore Chosen.
I got Gore Chosen. Yeah.
Have you played it yet?
I have not. I haven't even cracked the wrapper. And I've had it since January. So it shows
why don't we
I'm so busy, right?
Well, then why not get together and do a preview of it?
We should,
That'd be awesome.
Because to me, I looked at that game and I'm like, wow, the value of that game
is huge.
The figures, you get 4 figures in there,
and they're going for $35.
Yeah, if you buy them individually, you're paying twice as much as you do if you buy the game.
And the plus, you get all the game, right? The game was $100 Canadian.
It's less.
How much was it Canadian?
Yeah, I forget, but it's less.
Okay. Yeah. So and the models go for like $35 Canadian a piece, right? So it's like why?
So it was a great deal, and I'm like, you know what? I don't really have any plans right now to play Age of Sigmar, but hey, I got 4 models that I can use for Age of Sigmar if I ever wanted to.
I'll be honest, Age of Sigmar interests me because of the rule set. Well, it's an easy rule set. The rule set is free. It's 3 pages long.
And since when was it? A year ago now, they came out with the General's Handbook.
The different play sets with the point value.
Yeah, I know from the retailers that I know said that after that book came out, the sales of that game went through the roof.
Yeah, and the reason being is because now you have ways to balance out what armies are facing.
That was kind of the problem with that game when it first came out, was that it was there was no point system attached to it, so it was
free
really
for all.
It was a bit
but now that it has that organization, it's a really good looking game. I have 2 armies. I haven't even played once, but I have 2 armies because I'm already interested in playing that much. I just got to build up the interest around my area and get the players going. But I got a Khorne Bloodbound army. And then I got a Sylvaneth army for that game as well.
So the only figures that I bought are things that you already have.
No, I don't think I have. I don't think I have them all. I have a couple. I know that much, but not because it came with 4, right? And so I think you have 2 that I don't have actually.
Yeah.
So
You want to buy them?
No, you keep them. You keep them. Well, you can just buy more, right? Yeah. So, but that's it.
All right.
That's it. Well, guys, if you have any comments, questions, leave them in the comments below.
Definitely.
We definitely want to hear from you guys as a viewer and get you guys engaged in what we're doing. Again, we're going to try to be consistent with this first Thursday of every month.
It's your channel, man.
Yeah.
You publish when you want to publish.
I'll say first Thursday of every month, and we'll go from there.
As long as we can get together once a month, that's going to be the...
My schedule is whack. It is whack, I'll be honest. It's all over the place. It's like one week I'm working 5 o'clock in the morning till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The next week I'm working 3 in the afternoon to 11 at night. it's all over the place, and then that doesn't include my like 11-11s or my 5-5s. Or,
that's crazy.
So, but yeah, it changes.
But yeah, let's like we talked about Shadow War Armageddon. Yeah. We're gonna try to talk about I think at least one game or one something that's new in the hobby. Yeah, like a train manufacturer or something
each time, right?
Yeah, each time. So yeah, like let's hear what you guys want to hear about,
and then we can hopefully get our hands on it, cover it, and go from there.
Well, most likely we have it. One of us.
It's true, actually. It's true. Our collections. I have 2 garages on my property, and I film in my back garage, and it's literally a man cave. Yeah, like it is dedicated. I might have some baby stuff because when you're a parent, you got to do what you got to do in the corner. But really, it's just all my toys, my toy soldiers, and a motorcycle. But you know, hey,
you got to have a motorcycle, right?
Not if you're my wife. She wants me to get rid of it, and that probably will happen. Hey, if you know anybody that... No, I won't go there. But yeah, no, it's good. I'm fortunate that way, and we will probably have what they want us to cover. Yeah. So guys, thank you for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and check out those links in the description below. Cheers, guys.
See you guys.